We got to address this breaking news, and this came out over the weekend, which is that the Biden administration not only has intel on where certain Hamas leaders are, tunnels are, that includes the ringleaders of the attacks in October, but not only do they have that intel, they have decided to withhold that intel from Israel and use it as a bribe tool to get them to not go into Rafah, which is where the last stronghold and the main stronghold is of Hamas in Gaza. Now, this obviously is really troubling, as Israel has been our ally. As we heard the information coming in over the weekend, we can even now ignore the Biden speech from a couple weeks ago, or last week, where he said, I've never, stood more closely with someone than Israel, and we're going to never, and we knew this had just come out of the weapons deal where there was the hold on the munitions. And now to know that the U.S., which not shockingly has good intel, has information that could really end the war. And they've decided to make a political stunt out of it and to withhold this information. Rick Grinnell, former director of national intelligence, is going to be joining us in the next segment. You don't get that kind of broadcast, by the way, anywhere else on the planet. So in the next segment, we're not going to hold him till later in the show. In the next segment, we're going to talk about that, what that means when you have this kind of information and you withhold it from your ally. You essentially are turning your ally into an enemy. Well, we're going to take calls on it. 1-800-684-3110. There's a poll right now on YouTube that says, has Biden been exposed by withholding intel to Israel? Obviously,
it really raises a lot more questions than it answers. When you read the headlines like U.S. offers Israel intel on Hamas leaders for pledge to hold back on Rafah, it really makes you question the administration's commitment to Israel from the get-go at this point. If they have this type of intel, they weren't sharing it with the Israelis to try to have a quick resolution to this conflict. Why were they holding it back? Why are they making so many political moves? Who are they trying to appease? Are they trying to appease the people on campuses across this country?
Now, Rick, this is a big deal. I want to make sure our audience understands this. The Biden administration, we know this now, been withholding what we're considering what could be war-ending information. Information details on where the last Hamas leadership, some of the people, the ringleaders are, certain tunnel situation, because the U.S. has pretty good intelligence, it seems, but they've decided to make this a political stunt and not help our allies.
Look, it's infuriating. It makes me very angry to see how, once again, the Democrats are playing politics with intelligence. We can't do that. We've got to remove the politics from intelligence. But here's a situation where they literally are holding back information, possibly crucial information. I've spoken to several intel officials who are currently employed in the federal government intelligence system. And I spoke to them this morning. And one individual, she says that it's so bad that everybody is talking about it and complaining that it ruins the credibility of the intelligence agencies when we're trying to hold back intelligence or manipulate it in some way. Remember, this is an administration, Avril Haines as DNI, who started off her tenure as repackaging a whole bunch of information on Saudi Arabia in order to show the Iranians that somehow we were going to play nice and be on their team. And it's been a disaster ever since. We've placated the Iranians, we've given them money, and look what we've got in war. And now we're holding back intelligence. It's like someone needs to tell Avril Haines and Joe Biden that we still have U.S. hostages, and providing intelligence to the Israelis about Hamas, about where our hostages may be, is crucial information. It's un-American to hold it back.
We know that the president is in a very difficult political situation here at home, as you see the protests across the country, the encampments on campuses, the vile anti-Semitism that's going on. And it has to be asked, when you see a move like this, where they're withholding potentially devastating to Hamas information from Israel, our ally in this time of war, and the president is trying to appease a base at home and trying to coax an ally to do something that could benefit him politically. Do you see any parallels with what the Democrats accused Donald Trump of doing with Ukraine here.
I mean, one thing that I've learned over the years is that whenever the Democrats point their finger, they're trying to distract. And so there's clearly an element of they accuse us of the exact same things that they're doing. But let me also say this, Will, I think it's really important to say is that I don't believe that what the Biden administration is doing is helpful to Arab Americans or people in Michigan or to the Palestinians, because the supporting Hamas or hiding information about where Hamas is only makes this war go on longer. The whole focus is to get our hostages back and to crush Hamas. Why would they protect Hamas by hiding information about Hamas? They seem to constantly mix up this idea that Palestinians or Michiganders or Democrats somehow are supporting Hamas leadership just simply because they want to see this situation calm down in Gaza. I actually know many Arabs who want to see this over with immediately. And the way to do it, they recognize, is to return the hostages and crush Hamas. They're not being represented by Hamas, the Palestinian people. The Palestinians need to throw Hamas overboard and say they do not represent us, crush them, and let's get on with it.
The Israeli friends that I have and I've talked to, trust me, their economy is suffering because of this. They are taking big hits. They understand the necessity of taking out Hamas, and they feel like it is time for a lot of them. But look, the whole country really is built on a couple different things: technology and exporting that technology. And the other thing they're really known for is tourism. And guess what's really not happening right now is tourism. Getting in and out of the country is still very difficult. And finally, things were starting just a few weeks ago. Things were starting to finally tick back. You had airlines saying, okay, we're going to start flying back into Israel. And then you had the Iran attack. So it's not like all of a sudden Israel is excited to be in this war. They want it to be over too. So if you have that vital information and you're not sharing it, it does feel, like Will said, a very political moment.
Every single appointee, as well as the media in Washington, D.C., think that they can do this doublespeak. They're hypocrites. And let me just tell them one thing. I have been talking to lots of Arab Americans across this country, hoping that they will support Donald Trump. And I'm hearing great things from them, because Arab Americans, like evangelicals and pro-Israel individuals in America, believe two things. One, Iran is the problem. When you fund Iran, you get terrorism. The Trump administration didn't fund Iran. Guess who did? The Biden administration. And the second thing is they know Hamas is the problem. They're focused on getting rid of Hamas. Arab leaders know that Hamas can never be in control going forward. So wiping them out and getting rid of them is the goal. They need to do it faster, and we need to stop telling Israel to slow down. I'll finish with this. I think the idea of a ceasefire right now means when you call for a ceasefire, you're calling for the hostages to remain with Hamas and the problem to linger.